Welcome to Canyonlands National Park in southeastern Utah. We are at the Isle of the Sky Visitor Center, and that's not even 100 yards that way, and you've got views like this. Canyonlands National Park, very aptly named. Obviously, we're here on a gorgeous day in early October. Sun is out, blue sky. Most people who come to this area will come for Arches, but fortunately Arches National Park, but Canyonlands right next door.
Yeah, absolutely. I came here last time and only had one day in Moab. I mean, 24 hours. We went into Arches first thing in the morning, hit some of the high points in Arches, ate a really late lunch, and then we thought, should we drive through Canyonlands because we're this close? I was traveling with my dad and two of my aunts, and we thought, when are we going to be here again? Let's just do it. So this is, I think, a 37.5-mile drive that you can do through Island in the Sky, and this is the closest entrance to Arches, and we did that. We came in and we got out at all the major overlooks. We saw the Mesa Arch, we did the Grand View overlook, and it was fast and we were like on the move, but we still got some great pictures, saw some amazing things, and I saw enough to know I wanted to come back and bring Chad and his mom with me.
And accessibility, or a better word for it might be proximity. We're only 30 miles from I-70. When you start talking about the distances and the remote locations of a lot of the big national parks, Bryce, Zion, Oregon Pipe, Mojave Desert, some of that kind of stuff, it is so far out. There was a couple at the visitor center here asking how to get to Capitol Reef, and on a map it doesn't look that far, but it's 165 miles. And a lot of that is two-lane road. It's 3 hours. What's so nice about Arches in Canyonland, again, 30 miles from I-70, and they are essentially across the road from each other and very close to Moab. They're only, 5-10 miles from Moab, which is a real place with a lot of branded hotels, restaurants, and all the other stuff, so you don't, it's not camping.
Yeah, and we did Yellowstone last year and had to stay in Cody. That was almost an hour drive to get into the park. We've done Glacier and stayed in Whitefish, same thing, hour drive to get into the park. This is so easy to stay in Moab. We're staying in the same place every night, and we've done 2 days in Arches. Now we're going to do 2 days in Canyonlands. It's just so easy. And I always think about people who have mobility issues. When I came last time, I had an aunt who was still recovering from a broken ankle. My dad had just gotten a stent for his heart, and so they didn't want to do anything very strenuous, but they still wanted to see all these magical places. And both in Arches and in Canyonlands, so many parking lots where you can get out and it's a 30-yard walk to the edge, right, to be able to see an arch or to be able to see the canyons like this. So it's something that I really think is accessible for people of all ages.
And you get major league scenery like this. Again, this is not the B material.
This isn't even one of the official sort of places on the map they tell you to go. This is right outside the visitor center.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Arches and Canyonlands are two totally different experiences. Arches is about getting up into the Arches, and it's very close, and going through some of the narrow, canyon land areas and hiking, whereas this is about vast open spaces. So even though, again, if we had a better sense of direction and a better camera, we could point to where Arches National Park is from here, and it's a totally different experience from Canyonlands. So don't think that, well, I saw Arches, how different can it be?
Incredibly different.
It is significantly different.
It's hard to believe they're right next to each other. That's how different they are.
The scenery, the rock formations, the landscape. If you're going to come, and you're going to come all this way, absolutely go to both. There are other state parks, and Arches National Park is not particularly big. It's 70-some thousand acres, I think, which on the scale of a national park isn't that big. Yellowstone's 3 million, so get that in your head. Here at Canyonlands, I think it's 300,000, so it is much larger, but there are all kinds of backcountry and inaccessible areas, and accessible only by 4x4, and there are different entrances. Again, if you've heard of the Needles, that's those, spires that's it would be
like
a
60
3-hour.
miles that way.
60 miles, but again, a lot of 2-lane unpaved road. It's hours from here. So to do the main Arches Visitor Center, which is one road in, one road out, piece of cake. That has the timed entry. This does not have timed entry because it's not quite as popular, but it can get backed up.
And it has, I think, 3 or 4 different entrances. Like we came to Island in the Sky. Needles has a totally different entrance.
Yeah, but you would want to get here earlier if you can, or later if you can, to avoid a long line, or in the shoulder season, of course. Again, October is fantastic. April is fantastic. Those summer months, again, you can see that's an October sun. Imagine what that's like in June. It is not pleasant to be out here late May, June, July, August into early September. Now, if you've got kids and they're in school and you can't avoid it, c'est la vie, make the best of it. But gosh, if you can come here in spring or fall, shoulder season, avoid the worst of the crowds, avoid the worst of the heat, it is a much more pleasant experience.
Yeah, and if you come earlier in the morning or later in the day, I know we came later in the day last time. Even in late May, we were right up against Memorial Day weekend and no wait at all to get in. We came today, which is early October, on a Monday, although it's a holiday Monday, and at 10 a.m. had to wait about a half hour to get in the gate because it wasn't one ranger getting you in and it wasn't moving very fast. So if you can get here a little earlier in the day or a little later in the afternoon, that's going to help you out too.
But for these big Western national parks that everyone wants to come see, Arches Canyonland, it's an incredible 2-4 and much easier to get to than a lot of the other ones, with a great headquarters destination of Moab that in and of itself is a tourist destination, a cute downtown area, shops, restaurants, that sort of thing. So for Kristi, Dosh, I'm Chad Scott bidding adieu for now from Canyonlands National Park.